Hi Permy friends, welcome back to my channel Indara Farms. My name's Steph and we live on rural acreage in the wheat belt of Western Australia in a semi-arid climate. I've been studying permaculture since 2018 and in 2021 I feel like I need to answer this question, which I get asked a lot. What is permaculture? So today I endeavour on answering that question. This is actually part of a 6-part series where I answer some questions around permaculture. Some may be a little bit more controversial, but today we are starting off with just covering what is permaculture. So permaculture in my own words. Let's start with where permaculture and the idea of permaculture started. It started in Australia and it was invented by two men, David Holmgren and Bill Mollison. I will link a video where David Holmgren describes how he met Bill and how they ended up going along and writing a book about permaculture. Because I don't think anyone can truly answer that question except for the man themselves. So this video was filmed really well and it is part of a bigger permaculture movie that is being created. So after you've watched my video, go ahead and watch that. That is going to really give you a good explanation. However, I'll continue on. The two guys were in Tasmania and they wrote a book in 1978 called Permaculture 1. Permaculture is basically a landscape design meets agriculture meets ecology design system. Keyword being design. So it is all about the designing of a landscape to work with nature rather than against her. What does that even look like? So what does permaculture design endeavour to do? It endeavours to make connections between plants and animals and arrange them in a system that makes sense. It takes into considerations like your water flow through your property, your sun energies, your wind energies, and this is done by doing sector analyses. Now, it also takes into consideration your bioregion and what suits your specific climate in your area with your soils. Bring all that together and basically what you're trying to create is a high yielding, low input, low energy input agriculture. A lot of plants are chosen for their edible factors, but there are lots of other plants that are used in a permaculture design. Things that are for windbreaks, plants that are for wood, for furniture, for medicinal. There are lots of reasons, including fodder for animals, that plants are included in a permaculture design. Every single element is researched thoroughly. So if you're going to put chickens in your system, even down to a different breed of chicken that is researched, then plants are researched extensively as well. Connections are then made. Does that plant also suit the chickens? Are they fodder for the chickens? Will it attract bees to the garden? Is it medicinal? Is it going to give me some food? What are the connections that we can make? And then those plants or elements are placed in a design according to zones. What are zones? Zones take into consideration our energy. Our energy is not unlimited. So with clever zone placement of different elements, where zone 0 is the house, zone 1 is normally the areas around the house or the areas that you access most. After you've done your pathways, you will know what areas am I going to the most often, and things that are high intensity or high yielding or that need your attention daily are placed in those zones. As you're looking at the house, it then goes further out. Zone 2 is more orchards. So they still need maintenance, but they don't necessarily need daily attention from you. Zone 3, you're looking at your broad scale farming systems. Again, they don't need daily maintenance. You might have, a crop in that you've seeded and that you've fertilized, but you're not out there every single day. Then zone 4 is maybe an old woodlot that you've planted and you really won't revisit very often until come harvest time. Zone 5 is usually an unmanaged part of your property, like a wildlife corridor. or an old woodland that you're not really doing anything with. You've just fenced off and you're letting nature do its thing. Even in an urban environment, you may have a Zone 5 wildlife area. Have a look around your backyard. Is there an area that you don't really visit that's unmanaged? Maybe you planted native plants and it's purely there for the native wildlife to come and enjoy. So this is a very basic, quick rundown explaining what permaculture design is and how it takes into consideration all of these different factors. Underpinning permaculture, there is a set of ethics and a set of principles. These principles and ethics have evolved over time, with David and Bill changing them as they go, as they start to develop the permaculture design concept. This video without sharing with you what the ethics and principles are of permaculture. The ethics are earth care, people care, and fair share. Earth care being care of the earth. Remember, we're not trying to work against nature. We're not trying to dominate her with pesticides and herbicides and control her. We're trying to work with her and find solutions that we can work together. People care, care of the community, involving your community, including yourself, including sharing seeds. We're caring for everyone around us. We're including everyone. It's not about being self-sufficient in the way that I'm completely off-grid and I'm not going to share all my knowledge and I'm not going to help anyone and I'm living in my own little bubble. That's not what permaculture is. It's all about community with permaculture. And then you've got fair share. So I've harvested an abundance of food. I share that food with my community, with my family, with my friends. If I'm saving seeds, I'm sharing those seeds with people as well. All about the fair share, including knowledge. That's why I'm here doing this channel, because I want to share what I am learning as I go with you. Then we have the 12 principles underpinning a permaculture design. These ones are by David Holmgren, and I can't even to this day still remember them all off the top of my head. So I'm going to refer to my little notes here. We have number 1, observe and interact. What does that mean? It's by taking the time to engage with nature, we can design solutions that suit our particular situation. I'm sure if you sat out in your garden, you would notice different things. And it's all about the observations that you make. Oh, that plant isn't growing there. That's because it likes full sun and I've realized I've planted it in full shade. It's about the observation, you interacting with it. Number 2, catch and store energy. Can we capture the sun? Can we take advantage, make a little greenhouse and capture that sun and extend our growing season? Can we harvest rainwater to water our plants? Can we divert grey water into our fruit trees and our orchards? Catching and storing the energy. It may also even be that you have a large abundance of zucchini, but you can't eat it all at once. So you make zucchini bread and you freeze that and you store that for later. You've captured the zucchini while it's growing and it's fresh, and you've stored that energy now for later, for when you're hungry and you want to eat, but you know, you're overeating zucchini right now. Now, number 3, obtain a yield. Permaculture is about agriculture, right? We're not talking about industrial agriculture here, which is high energy and relying on the fossil fuel system to keep it functioning. We're talking about agriculture as in for the human agriculture. It is important that you're obtaining a yield from your system that you are working hard to maintain and create. That yield could be medicinal, herbs, it could be food, it could be wood for furniture or burning. So it is about obtaining a yield. Number 4 principle, apply self-regulation and accept feedback. So we need to disencourage inappropriate activity to ensure that systems continue to function well. We all make mistakes. That's going to happen. I've made plenty of mistakes in my own permaculture journey. And let's be clear, it's a journey, not a destination. We're not going to arrive at the end and be like, oh, I'm permaculture, I'm here, I'm at my destination. It doesn't work like that. Everyone's journey is different and everyone is coming at it from different angles. But basically, it's the ability to check yourself or be checked by someone else and be like, hey, do you realize you've done that, wrong, and you could do that a little bit better by doing it this way? So that's number 4, self-regulation and accept the feedback. Number 5, use and value renewable sources and services. Make the best of nature's abundance to reduce our own consumption and dependence on non-renewable resources. Can you recycle something? Can you reuse a resource like I did with building my garden beds? There was a huge abundance of recycled brick around at the time when I built my garden beds, and I've used and I value that resource, and I've reused it by building a beautiful vegetable garden that I love. Okay. 6, produce no waste. I don't want you to be too harsh on yourself with this one. I'm still producing waste, and it's a long journey to change that. But we have implemented some great strategies that now we are producing less waste. We are composting our vegetable scraps. We're burying vegetable scraps. We're feeding our chickens so many leftover food waste vegetable scraps. We've recently even set up a worm farm who are also taking that. Eggshells get recycled. We are making an effort to produce no waste, and in the meantime, we're getting beautiful organic compost, and our soils are thanking us, and all the worms are thanking us because they're getting all our waste and it's not ending up in landfill anymore. Okay, the 7th principle of permaculture is design from patterns to details. By stepping back, we can observe patterns in nature and society. These can form the backbone of our designs, with the details filled in as we go. The leaf plat pattern is an example where I've recently taken that pattern and it suits my design for my flower farm, which I will update you all with soon, that full design, because I have changed it slightly from the last video that I shared. But it's about recognizing those patterns and those details that nature is already sharing with us and using them in our designs. Number 8, integrate rather than segregate. By putting the right things in the right place, relationships develop between them and they support each other. So rather than having a chicken run that has nothing planted in it, you could integrate different plants like wormwood, which is medicinal for chickens. They can go and self-medicate. I have fruit trees growing in my chicken runs, like a fig tree. It's going to provide beautiful summer shade eventually, and it's also providing deciduous shades and winter sun while also giving me a yield of fruit. And hey, if any drop, the chickens are going to enjoy those figs too. So it's about what can we integrate rather than having a separate fig tree in an orchard and chickens over separately in a separate chicken run. Okay, number 9. Use small and slow solutions. Sometimes I have to remind myself of this one. It's not about the end goal. It's about just coming up with different solutions that suit you, that are simple and that you can implement. Because at the end of the day, it's normally only 1 or 2 people trying to work a property, and it does take time. Number 10, use and value diversity. So this is all about, you could say, companion planting, less monocultures, more diversity. What can we plant together where that plant is going to support the plant next to it and it's going to support the plant next to it? One might be simply because it attracts bees and that fruit tree needs to be pollinated by bees. One might be that it's a insect deterrent, a pest deterrent. So it's all about diversity of plants rather than a big monoculture of plants. Number 11, use the edges and value the marginal. If you go out and have a look as you're driving around next time and have a look at the edges of roadsides or the edges of a forest or even the edges of your driveway, when 2 different, points meet in nature, usually along that strip, there is a huge amount of diversity there. It might be where all the nutrients meet. It might be where some plants are coming from this section, you know, like the field. Some plants are coming from this section, like a forest, and they're meeting, and both plants cross over at that edge. So it's all about using the edges cleverly in your permaculture design. And the last one, 12, creatively use and respond to change. Well, we're having to creatively respond to some big changes right now, aren't we, with climate change? The climate's going to keep changing, and we're going to have to creatively respond to that. What plant suited our environment 10 years ago might not suit our environment in 10 years' time. So it's about observing and learning and creatively responding to those changes. So in conclusion, permaculture is where you take ecology, agriculture, landscape design, and you design a system for your property, whether that be urban or semi-rural or small acreages, even large-scale acreages. And you take that design and all the concepts and all the ideas, and you create a functional, well thought out plan for your property, while using the ethics and principles that underpin the whole design. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that clarifies for you a little bit more about what permaculture is. Now, before I go, I'll just share you, I do have the first book that was written by Bill and David. I was so lucky, would you believe I found it in an op shop? But yes, let's quickly grab that. Okay, so Permaculture 1. This is actually the first book that was written in 1978. Since then, there has been a number of books written by lots of different people, and including some updates by Bill and David themselves. I will share those in an upcoming video, all the books that I can recommend to you. But in the meantime, if you liked part 1 of this series and you found it useful, make sure you hit subscribe so that you can follow along for this 6-part series where I'm going to dive deep into some permaculture questions. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.